Welcome to episode 356 of Game Deflators Podcast. My name is John, and I am joined by Ryan.
Hey, everybody here at the Game Deflators Podcast. We like to talk about games we've recently picked up, games we're currently playing, and we have a sweet tooth in this week's Inflation Deflation Challenge.
So we're playing some Twisted Metal 1 on the PlayStation 1, but Ryan, what else are we talking about this week?
So this week, Hollow Knight Silksong launch takes out 3 in a blast. Then only 1 can control the fate of so many as Brendan Lee Mulligan leads Critical Role Season 4. And we wrap it all up with our Twisted Metal Inflation Deflation Challenge.
You can also find the Game Deflators on thegamedeflators.com, our currently up-to-date website, Ryan. You can also find us on social media at Game Deflators on X, at The Game Deflators on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and Blue Sky. I got it right this week. We're also on YouTube.
Yeah.
Find all of our video gameplay on there, as well as any podcast episodes that we have playing. And then, of course, link up to the little button, the little bell that's on there.
The doobly-doo.
Yeah, whatever the doobly-doo is. And subscribe, comment. And then, of course, we're a podcast. We're on podcast applications all over the place. Go ahead and subscribe on there as well. All right.
Yeah. 5-star reviews.
All of them. All 5-star reviews. Okay. Let's go into our pickups for the week. I got quite a few, actually. So,
Dang.
First one for me is going to be Shredder's Revenge on the PlayStation 4.
That was a good game.
Yep. So
I played that on Switch or... No, I think it was Game Pass.
I don't know. Haven't played it. Well, I played a little bit of Joel's
It was
house.
a good one.
Yeah, I played a little bit of Joel's house the other day. Yeah, it was pretty fun. So I also got these Micron pens.
Microns are dope.
Yeah, so I got those because, you know, when you're painting D&D minis or any sort of mini and you're trying to get the eyeball or the pupil? Yeah, there we go. So apparently if you use the 0.0 or actually, which one is it? It's the 0.2.
Really tiny one.
Yeah, the 0.2 millimeter one. If you go ahead and use it and just put a little dot in the white of the eyeball, it makes a perfect pupil every time. So
just make sure you wait a long time until it's dry, because if you get a little bit of paint on the end of that, it screws the marker up. I've tried using those markers in ways that I shouldn't, and I'm always very upset with how easily they are to ruin.
Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. So it'll probably be a day after or so, but it prints.
Yeah, just let it all cure.
Or after I paint it, I mean. And then I got just magic cards. Lots of magic cards here.
So shiny.
So shiny. I know. It's because all this lighting. So let's see if I can get it close. This one is one of
Not really.
Yeah, no, I can't. Let's see if I pull it out, if that'll do anything.
Oh, the value is ruined.
Oh, no.
No.
Yeah, so that one's called Uthros Research Craft. That's a spaceship. I got Frenzied Bailoff, which is the 2-drop green that it can't be countered, trample haste, and then creatures I control can't be countered and damage can't be prevented. So it's kind of sick.
Cool.
Arch Enemy's Charm. I got 3 more of those just to complete my set. Some Soulstone Sanctuary, which is the land that becomes a 3/3 vigilance creature when you tap it for 4. And then I've also got this other stack of cards that I bought recently to make a deck for that tournament that I'm going to be in. So, yeah, so it should be pretty good. That is my pickups for the week. As far as what I'm currently playing, looking at my list, Witcher, have continued that. I am into Chapter 2 on Witcher. Haven't played too much this week, but I did just enough to kind of pick things up. Again, I'm liking the story so far. It's, in terms of overall gameplay, it's pretty fun. And everybody's, told me, hey, Witcher 3 is peak, right? Witcher 1 is trash. Well, if I'm enjoying Witcher 1, then that means I can only go up from there, right? So looking forward to playing that series in its entirety. But for now, Witcher 1 is pretty good. And then Final Fantasy 6. Dude, do you care about spoilers in this game? Okay.
I mean, it's such an old game, and I've already watched videos on it, so I probably already know.
Okay, Kefka's a dick. That is the biggest villain in Final Fantasy history for sure. Dude, there's this whole scene.
That's not a spoiler. Everybody knows that.
Oh yeah, I know. Everybody knows that. But there's this. I mean, the whole destroying the world and actually getting through of it, making that happen is nuts. But there's this crazy scene where you just see his insanity. They're on this floating continent. And he's controlling, I forget what the name of the pillars are, but he's controlling this magical object on his continent and telling it to strike down the Emperor. And he's saying, hey, no, strike the Emperor here, strike him here. And he's just laughing while he's trying to strike the Emperor with thunder. And then, or I guess lightning, technically, even though it's called thunder and Thundara in the game. But he finally hits the Emperor. Emperor's dead, and he's like, "Oh, well, that wasn't very fun." And he just starts kicking the dead body and just throws it over the edge of the floating continent. I'm like, this guy's insane. And then, of course, he, destroys the entire world and gets to a point where everything is dead. There's things not wanting to grow, even though you go into towns that have been destroyed and they have like running rivers and stuff. I'm like, the whole area is supposed to be like gone, right? So why is there like a lush green forest still in this particular part of this little city still that's being inhabited? So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, overall, we're definitely enjoying the game. We're towards the end now. We're right now at the point where you're going through all of the different parts of the continents to pick up the players in your party that have been dispersed throughout, the continent after Worlds is ruined. So once we do that, we're going to go battle Kefka, and then we're done with the game. So
nice.
Yeah, that's where we are with that. And we're definitely enjoying it. So I would definitely rank this in my top 3 Final Fantasies for sure. And that
nice.
top 3 does not include Final Fantasy 7.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm going to have... So, for nostalgia...
what are your top?
I would say Final Fantasy 10 is number 1 for me. Number 2 would be 6, and then 8 is 3. And I know people say 8's trash and all that, but from a nostalgia perspective, for me, that's number 3. It used to be number 1 for a long time.
Really?
Yeah.
That is surprising.
But as I continued to play Final Fantasy 10 and... the more I've kind of looked back at it, that was definitely a superior game, both from a story and gameplay perspective. The linearity of it.
Yeah, I love 10. I need to go back and finish that one.
You haven't beat that one?
I haven't beaten any Final Fantasies. I'm pretty sure like Tactics Advance I've beaten.
Yeah, I beat that one.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I've ever beaten another Final Fantasy, to be honest with you. Because, like, I've replayed Final Fantasy 9 and 12 since we've had the podcast, and both times I got to the last dungeon and stopped.
So I could have sworn you beat 12 several years back.
No, I was like 2 boss fights away from beating 12. That's like the best time to stop playing a game.
I don't get it, man. That's crazy. The amount of time that it takes to invest into an RPG, and you're like, no, I'm done after, one boss remaining.
I mean, eventually something else just comes out, and I start playing that, and then it's just like, well, I'll go back to it, and then you never do.
I can't say too much because Final Fantasy VII, I came back to it about 5 years after the fact, before I beat it, and I was in the final.
And I have an imagination for like a series where I would just kind of like jump into finishing games where I left them off at random and just try to figure it out.
Maybe that should be next year's New Games resolution. You get to complete like 5 video games that you stopped.
Finish one off with Ryan.
Well, I mean, I'm sure maybe we can get something set up where people can pay in a Patreon to finish up games with you.
Oh, people would pay to watch me finish one off.
We're not going to put that in our website links. But how about yourself? What are you doing this week? Or what did you do last week?
So I did have a couple of pickups. I finally, after many weeks of waiting, got my Digimon Osmaria XB Digivice. It is sick. I dig it. I've been having fun with that all week. I've got my Jessamon now, which is like a stage.
It's Jessie and Jessie from Pokemon. Jessamon, is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Right.
From Pokemon. Actually, my other pickup this week is Pokemon related. I got a sick new water bottle from Igloo.
Mm-hmm.
They make these like can style bottles.
That's cool. Ooh, Blastoise.
Yeah, and they've got one for each of the original starters and like a Pikachu one, but they're like really nice. I like that. That just came in yesterday. So those are my fun pickups. And then as far as playing, tying into my first article, I've been playing Hollow Knight. If anybody didn't watch, Gamescom was something that we didn't pull an article for this week, but Gamescom happened. A bunch of cool stuff was announced. Jeff Keighley opened it up with being like, Hollow Knight Silksong is still coming out this year, and didn't say anything. And then they showed, I think, like 18 seconds or 30 seconds of new gameplay, and that was all they announced at Gamescom. And then like the next day there was a whole Silksong announcement. So I was like, you know what? I really liked Hollow Knight. I'm not doing anything. This was actually just last night. I was like, I'm not doing anything. And then the power went out. And I was like, well, now I'm definitely not doing anything. So I just busted out my Switch and booted up Hollow Knight and started playing through that and put on like a speed run of it. And it was fun sitting back down with that. I really like that game. That's actually one of the Switch games that I played the most in docked. Most of the time that I played Switch games, I played them all in handheld. But I played that one docked because I really liked the music and the visuals, and it was, I don't remember what I was doing at the time, but I think I had like a lot of time that I was playing it because my first file, I was like 30 hours in. So I don't know how far exactly I'll get. Silksong is set to come out, I believe it's the 4th of September. So that's just like a couple of weeks away. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, that's what I got.
What about did you watch new South Park episodes? No? Haven't done it yet?
Nope.
Oh, Ryan.
Nope. I've watched the first episode of the new season and that's it.
Ryan. Oh. We got to talk about it. It's so good.
Oh, I did watch something wild this week that I've never heard of.
All right.
Yo Yogi. It's a 90s Hanna-Barbera cartoon with a hip 90s Yogi that hangs out with like other characters like Snaggletooth and Huckleberry Hound, and they're all like teenage like mystery crime solvers at the local mall.
13 episodes.
It was wild.
You describing it, I'm like, I don't know about that. Oh my god, episode number 1 is titled Yo Yogi.
Yeah, that's the one I watched. I was like, I've never heard of this before. I really like old cartoons, and I was like, I'm gonna put an episode of that on. No, yeah, and then let's see what else has been going on this week. I don't know, not much, just doing my thing, I guess.
You'll be proud of me. I am on on season 8 of King of the Hill right now.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. One of the recent episodes I watched was his brother's wedding. Yeah, dude, I felt so bad for Boomhauer that whole episode.
Yeah,
that was pretty bad. And then what was the other one? Peggy goes down to Mexico, and she thinks that this international star is like, trying to hit on her
when she's tutoring the kids.
Yeah, dude, Peggy is my least favorite character.
I love
Peggy. I hate Peggy so much, man. She's like, I don't know. It's what's the proper word for her? Like she's full of herself, but like excessively.
Oh,
yeah. It's so bad. Like it drives me insane listening to her.
She's overconfident to a fault.
Yeah. Like she's the greatest Spanish substitute teacher, and like hilarious stuff. But I would have to say so far, like in rewatching, my favorite characters have got to be Dale and Hank. Just Hank only for the pure purpose. It's just like the hilarity of how proper he is on everything.
Yeah.
It's just funny stuff, man. Like anytime he gets the opportunity, God, what was it? He's introducing himself to the retired Dallas Cowboys player who's like, oh yeah, I'm so-and-so with the Cowboys. And he's like, oh yeah, Hank Hill, salesman of propane and propane accessories. The way he introduces himself. It's just funny stuff.
Assistant manager, Strickland Propane.
Yeah, it's just funny. So I always get a good kick out of that. And, like I said, just a properness, right? Somebody says something about like, I think sex, and he's just like, whoa, no. And he's
whoa,
and he walks away. So it's good stuff.
I love King of the Hill. I've watched the first few episodes of the new season.
How is it?
And it's like mostly there. Like I'm not faulting it for what it isn't. Like obviously it can't just be more King of the Hill. It has to be something a little bit different. And so far I think they've done a pretty good job, but it just like it was still just not really what I wanted. So I'm kind of just gonna probably sparsely watch it out and not like kind of binge it all at once.
Yeah. Well, I'll get there at some point, but I was sorting magic cards while I was, watching that. And as I told you on, I think Friday, my son was sick, or he's sick Thursday night. So I held him back. Dude, he slept from like, he was like asleep at 9, woke up at 12, went to sleep at 1, woke up at 4. Like it was insane. how bad he felt.
I thought he wasn't napping.
What's that?
And so he was like,
So
because he doesn't do naps anymore regularly,
he naps
right?
now, but he naps at like 2:00 in the afternoon, and maybe to like 3:30. Like it's a super short nap, but I mean it's necessary. If we don't give it to him, he'll go crazy.
Yeah.
The entire night. But
Gotta reset that kid.
oh yeah, no, he needs a reset button. But no, he was sick, so I mean, like he was puking till like 2:00 in the morning, man.
Oh, poor kid.
Yeah, man. So he was really feeling bad. So like I was tired as hell, but I finally like got to a point where I had that little bit of jolt of energy. So while he slept, I just sorted Magic for hours on end and had King of the Hill playing on the side. So he's knocked
Hell
on the
yeah.
couch. I'm just like at my new little desk area, which I think I sent you a picture of that, right?
Yeah.
So just sorting Magic cards for hours on end while I just like, looking over, see if he's sick or not. Or
You
if
need
he's
one of
waking
those like green visors in the table light.
up. Yeah, that'd be pretty fun.
Those weird little arm strap bands.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't tell you, did I, that I backed a Kickstarter?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I mentioned a Heroes. So there's this company called Card Mill, and they are releasing a consumer-based card organization device that uses AI to scan cards in a like system and then spits it on one side. So basically, you load into a hopper of 300 cards, and then it automatically scans and then puts it into another pile or separate piles. Actually, it's got 27 slots, so you can slot by alphabetical order. You can sort by color, by set, by just about everything, right? Price point, whatever it may be. I'm still
Put all the ones that have pictures of dogs
right
on the right.
So I'm still going through and like organizing manually because I want to get through as much as I can. And in that way, I'm at the point where I just need to use that to go through and like scan my sections essentially. And then once that's all said and done, it'll automatically scan those cards and put them into an Excel sheet, which I can then upload to TCG. So I'll have a digital version of my entire Magic collection essentially. So anytime where I'm like, hey, I want to know the value of a card, or I need to go ahead and pull a card for a deck, I need to know if I have it or not, I can actively go ahead and do that. But it's pretty cool. Like it'll sort, like I said, by set, by color, by alphabetical order, by rarity is another piece. It'll sort by price point. So it's got a lot of different settings.
I feel like you're going to be done sorting your whole collection by the time this thing comes out.
It comes out in December. So
okay.
I will not be done. I still got another.
I mean, the Kickstarter ends in December, or it ships in December? It
ships in December.
Damn.
Yeah. So
how is this thing not already finished funding?
It did finish funding.
That's like a pretty fast turnaround.
It finished funding on August 21st. I got $2 million in funding. And the reason...
Yeah, I know, but that just seems like most Kickstarters don't have like a 3-month turn time.
No. We'll see. I mean, everybody that has talked about it says it's pretty legit.
Cool.
So it's pretty cool. And then it's if you back it, you get their software for no fees or anything like that. A lot of these companies that release these types of devices, they have astronomical fees up front for the cost of the device. And then they also have fees tied to like scanning cards. So they'll say your first 1,000 scans are $10. So if you scan 20,000 cards, you're looking at, whatever that turns into cash wise. In addition to the cost of the machine, which generally runs in the thousands. This one was $500. So we'll see if it ends up being one of those like too good to be true and it's a big scam. Usually Kickstarter will support and get refunds if possible on that. But I felt pretty comfortable with what I was seeing and the discussions people were having online with this device being one that I'm going to look at. So yeah. So I think it'll be pretty cool. So I'm pretty excited about that and the ability to get all those cards sorted out. But that would be my last pickup on the week. So let's dive into articles. This first one is from you.
All right. So Silksong release date has already prompted multiple game delays. So yeah, like I was saying, Hollow Knight Silksong finally got its announcement date. Yeah, it is going to be September 4th. And this has been one of those games that everybody's been waiting for so long. Like, I don't know that we've really talked about it too much on the podcast, but I mean, if you only listen to us for gaming news, thank you. If you listen to us for gaming news, you probably listen to other cooler people that are more on top of things than we are. But like Silksong has been anticipated for so long, and there's been the whole clown face meme where it's like every announcement that comes out, people are like, is Silksong going to be at this direct? Is Silksong going to be in this Xbox thing? Is Sony going to announce Silksong? And now it's like, finally, boom, Silksong, it's coming out. And everybody is like, okay, this is only a couple weeks warning, Team Cherry. We're going to have to clear the schedule. So these games here, I honestly haven't heard of some of these games. I'm sure some of these are anticipated by some people, but I mean, it does at least, lend credibility to the power of the hype for Silksong and showing that, other games are making different plans around this schedule. So we've got Clover Pit, was going to come out September 26th or September 3rd. Now they're pushing it back to the 26th. It's a roguelike mix between Balatro and Buckshot Roulette. So it's not even in the same category as, what Silksong is delivering on. What were the other games here? Phaeland, which is an adventure RPG. They were going to have their 1.0 launch. And then lastly, there was Eternia Lucis, was set to launch in September. Now they delayed that all the way out till next year, and I think that it's actually like a game that you would think of as competing with Silksong, but they're a studio who's just like, you know what? Bravo to you, Silksong. Like, you're an inspiration to us. Like, you take this time, we'll find our own time. And that's the thing, like a studio like this and a game like this that has this legacy of being like a very small project, that ballooned out into just this huge phenomenon. And then even this was going to be a DLC, and then they just kept, expounding on it and eventually made it a game launch. And it's a studio of largely 3 people, from what I understand. And so I was hearing some statistics the other day. I think it was that they made like 2 million sales like when Hollow Knight came out. And then since Hollow Knight came out, in the anticipation and wait for Silksong, they've sold like another 12 million copies or something. So like they don't have any giant like overhead stuff that they're paying for. So they were able to really just kind of sit back and chill and don't have that pressure of, the big finger up above them kind of pointing. And they're another one of these studios that shows that like you can take a lot of time and, really make something super polished, if you're given that time to cook and just do your thing. And I understand, like, some of these big budget giant games have too many people to let them just take that long to release something. And often people get very frustrated. Like, this was such an anticipated game. Like, the only other thing this anticipated is GTA 6. And that's going to have the same effect. Like, wait for GTA 6 to get announced, and then just we'll do the same article going over all of the launch delays that have been announced like the next day or the week later.
So that's what baffled me. I'm just looking at my notes that I had here. And so, couple things. GTA 6 was the first big thing that kind of caught my eye when it said, oh, we're pushing back to September of 2026. I'm like, are you really doing yourself any favors by going September 26th? Like, realistically, you could have gone November, right? Around that time frame. And you probably would have been okay. And they're like, oh, we don't want to be overshadowed by Silksong. Okay, you're going to be overshadowed by a much larger game that people are going to be willing to fork over in excess of $100, $120 to purchase day one in GTA 6. So that to me was baffling. But the other thing here is like, I understand like the one said, hey, we're September 3rd, we're going to move to like the 26th, give it a couple weeks, then we'll put our game so it's not super overshadowed. That sounds like a good approach, right? Or like early the next year might be a good approach as well. But September next year, that's ridiculous. And it kind of got me to thinking of, is there really a prime time to sell video games and like do a new launch? Like there's a new game, it seems like every week.
I mean, in theory, there is like all the big studios, back in the day anyways, like it's not really like that anymore, but like the lead up to the holidays, like you would expect like all the big games to come out in like late September to early November is really when like the big stuff would pour on. And then, but recently, like I remember hearing like YouTubers and stuff talking about like, oh, February is the month where we're just buried in like game releases.
But I mean, that's
everybody
the point,
like
though.
every February is just like climbing their way through a pile of games.
That's the point. Like, you have summer-based releases, like big games for the summer, like you would blockbuster movies. You've got the time in the fall where games are coming out prior to the holiday season. You've got that springtime and spring sales that are coming out. So, like, there's not really a true time of the year where it's going to be better than another, per se, for like an indie developer to say we don't want to be overshadowed by AAA games. It seems like there's something big coming out, and there's always something that people are looking forward to on a pretty consistent basis. And like if you haven't captured the attention of that audience for your game, then does it really matter when you release it? Right? And maybe by releasing it in that same time frame as a bigger title like Silksong, maybe there is a situation where, hey, we released at the same time, or we're releasing, a week after Silksong. Like, there's things that you can do, I feel, in your marketing to kind of ride those coattails of that big title that's coming out, especially if it's a very similar game, right? So in this instance, like, instead of releasing it next year, you could say, hey, Silksong came out. If you've enjoyed Silksong and you finish beating it, we're this type of game, and you'll enjoy us, and here's a trailer, etc. Like, really kind of ride those coattails.
Yeah, like, remember how Doom and Animal Crossing had that kind of like Barbenheimer kind of summer? So like that was a very interesting thing where they kind of leaned into each other. So like you can get some of that. It's usually like pretty quirky, but like I don't know. And I mean,
but I think
but
if you got a game,
depending on what it would need to be, though, it would need to be something of like equal magnitude. Like Doom and Animal Crossing, that was a thing that like the community started, and those are both giant like hits, and those are both like pretty niche different communities, and like the crossover appeal is super interesting because they're so different. But like if you're trying to stand next to the most anticipated game, like that's a little bit harder. Like I think if it's two games that are just going to be like both very good and well received, but not something that people have been like clawing their eyes out just for information on.
Yeah, but that's kind of what I'm saying, right? Like, I wouldn't release it side by side in that instance. I'd wait a few weeks, similar to this other one. It's like, hey, we're releasing the 26th instead of the 3rd. So that way we have a few weeks of time. Most people that have been looking forward to Silksong are going to have completed it relatively quickly, right? And they're going to be looking for the next thing, something that's going to be feeding that same itch that they had with Silksong. So if you're strategic about it as a company to say, we're going to release our game at this point in time, say 3 weeks after Silksong, and we're going to ride those coattails, you're probably going to pick up on some of those people that maybe didn't have their eyes on your product at that time, but they're itching for that same type of gameplay. And if you're able to offer that and the gameplay is good, then you could have that next hit by doing that. Obviously, it's a big could and a big what if, right? We're talking indie developers here. But yeah, I think there's opportunity there rather than just say, no, we're going to avoid it altogether and like wait out a year.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then of course have to compete with GTA 6. So you're going to get overshadowed a lot more than Silksong. Can promise you that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be a big game for a number of years. Cool. So my thing that I pulled up is Critical Role Campaign 4. They are choosing Daggerheart over, or not Daggerheart. They're choosing D&D over Daggerheart, and this is coming from Wargamer. So this was pretty interesting. I saw the video the other day, and my wife was watching it too. And the dude that's been, I forget his name.
I saw the announcement.
Yeah, but the one that does Dimension 20, he's going to be DMing.
Brennan Lee Mulligan.
Yeah, and you got Matt Mercer is going to be one of the players. They have 13 players, and when my wife was first telling me like, hey, they're gonna have 13 players, I'm like, holy crap, that's a lot of people to manage at a table. And then they talked about the method in which they're doing it, which is separate tables. So let's just say theoretically like 4, 4, and 5, right, for these 13 players, and probably other guest appearances throughout. It's a pretty cool process in which they're going to be doing like this intertwining of stories. So like, okay, this group for however many episodes, this is their story and where they're at in this world. This group is in this world or in the same world in this area. And this group is somewhere else. And the things that they do are going to affect things for the other groups. So if they killed, I don't know, let's just say a dragon in one area and took a gem, well, maybe somebody in the other part of the campaign needs to also find that gem and now it's missing. So now they have to ride, or not ride, but figure out, okay, where is it? What's happening to it? And dig in deeper, which might have some, intertwining effects with other parts of the campaign. So I thought that was pretty cool. But also, this goes back to what you and I talked about a little bit back on Daggerheart potentially overtaking D&D long term. I think this is almost an admission from the Critical Role team, but it's not there yet. And I think it's also an admission that fans are not wanting Daggerheart as a main focal point of the campaign that they're watching. Um, because if so, this would have been a great opportunity for him to take the Daggerheart, mechanics and really integrate it into the story and promote that new TTRPG on their end. But they're not. They're going with D&D. So I think it kind of speaks volume as to where they are with Daggerheart at this time and what the appetite is from their fan base to have that. And I mean, you could make the argument. I think Marisha May says in there as well. Hey, we're going to play based on like what's going to be best for the story. I mean, we're talking dice rolls and mechanics, right? So,
well,
for the most part, like high level. I mean, there's more to it, but you theoretically could have gone with Daggerheart. Like you could have.
Yeah, I mean, since it's like a D&D, clone sort of, I guess, I don't know, like it's the same it fulfills the same type of fantasy, and it probably has a lot of the same mechanics. I honestly don't know anything about Daggerheart, so I can't really speak to how it compares, but yeah, I mean, it is interesting. I thought that they were going to be, going in that other direction. I do really like the idea of them doing the go ahead.
Yeah, last thing on me is like our friends circle, we have Joel, Jenny, and everybody. When they heard the campaign 4 announcement was going to be coming out, they were all saying, God, please don't let it be Daggerheart. Like our friends circle was like, no, we don't want Daggerheart.
You're not playing it like it doesn't matter. You're not looking at the character sheet. It's just going to be mages casting spells and rogues stabbing people in the back, like whatever the flavor is.
I get it. And that's why I was like, the fan, like clearly there's people in the group that are like, no, we don't want Daggerheart as like, maybe it's when you think about the playing experience, if we're actively playing D&D and then
people
they're
tend
playing
to be biased towards what they know.
Yeah, and I think that's a little bit of it, right? So you don't want to see Daggerheart because you're actively playing D&D, and maybe because you're not playing you're not playing Daggerheart, you can't really get the same emotion on like a nat 20 versus, a 1 that's roll or crit fail or anything like that, right? So I think because I don't think they use 20s, I want to say they use D6s and D12s and such for Daggerheart. So it's different dice, different amounts of dice that are rolled for things to occur. So I'm wondering if that's part of it, right? Like fans they don't understand the game. They're actively playing D&D and they aren't going to get as excited about certain dice rolls that are occurring because they just don't know that game.
Well, D&D people, like, if you're a first time RPG player, and I mean, I've only really ever played D&D.
Yeah,
like I played 5 and 3.5, and that's it. So I don't have any outside knowledge other than like all the videos I've watched online about other stuff. And one thing is that like people start D&D and they see D&D done like on Critical Role or wherever, and they see it done in all these like really pro kind of level ways and do all this like intrigue and all this stuff. Most of that stuff isn't D&D. Like, just because you're making like a persuasion check, like D&D doesn't teach you anything about how to do courtroom politics or any of those type of things. Like half the mechanics those people are doing is made up stuff that they're throwing into those games anyways.
Yep.
So people think of D&D as this blueprint that can be fit onto any type of game. Like you could play a whole game of D&D without ever fighting anything.
Yeah.
Well, then play a different game that's about not fighting anything, because fully half of the rules of D&D is how to fight shit.
Yeah.
Like if you're not there to fight stuff, play a better game that you didn't spend $50 on a book of monsters that you don't need and half a player's manual about spells you're never going to cast.
And I think you bring up a good point too on, people look at D&D and they watch things like Critical Role and they think like, okay, yeah, this is the blueprint, right? Like this is how every game should be, where in reality, like you're talking about voice actors and a professional voice actor who's doing all of these different characters and like really immersing you in this world. Whereas your standard table is not like that. in any shape or
Yeah.
form. People try to mimic it, and like I'll try occasionally when DMing to like do a few different voices here and there to kind of differentiate some characters. But for the most part, that's a lot of time and effort. I'd rather it be a fun experience in a game where if there's like like if you wanted to do something that was wacky and technically rule wise mechanically it shouldn't
the rule
work.
of cool
Yeah, but the
is
rule
not
of cool,
in D&D.
exactly,
But it is the ultimate rule.
exactly. So I'll tell you, when in Joel's campaign, I'm playing a ninja turtle, because turtles are the characters, and I'm really a rogue, but I'm like an assassin rogue. So I'm basically playing what do you call it? Last Ronin, essentially, in this one. And so we're in this battle in God, what is it, the water plane, and we have a harpoon on our ship. Now, mechanically, there should be no reason a 300-pound turtle should be able to climb on a harpoon and be shot across to another enemy. I was like, Joel, come on now.
Rule of cool.
Rule of cool. Like, you got to let me jump on this harpoon and fire this thing off. And so we did it. And theoretically, it should have worked if we would have had a better roll. But he was going to allow it, right? And so if you kind of stick to this, like, hey, this is the rules and this is the blueprint and how we're supposed to follow it, you're not going to have as much fun. Which is why at our table, I like to bring in homebrew type enemies that are not really standard in the book, tweak some of the stuff in advance. There's like some fun mechanics tied to those different
just to
characters.
mess with Joel.
Definitely to mess with Joel, dude. Like, I don't know how many enemies you can put in front of that guy, and he'll be like, "Oh, it's this. Oh, it's this amount of HP."
Shouldn't this be dead already?
Yeah,
this has an AC of 15.
He will do so. Anybody, I mean, that Joel's been on before, so if you listen to a D&D episode, but yeah, like he will do that, right? Like he will metagame, like, oh, yep, that's this. It was, oh, I had blink dogs one time. He's like, whoa, hold on, why aren't we hitting this blink dog? Whoa, why are they still alive? Like, they don't have that much HP. I'm like, these are different blink dogs. They have X abilities. Like, blink dogs can't do that. They can in this instance. So
these ones can.
These can like warp over to do different things. So you have to do that sometimes, especially when you have another DM at the table. But to kind of go back to all of it, right? Like, people have their expectations on what Critical Role should be. And so when you throw in that Daggerheart component, yeah, you're going to have some pushback from the fans. And I think ultimately that's what we've seen here.
Yeah. One thing I want to touch on is the West Marches aspect of the campaign that they're running. I actually learned about this from a friend of the Critical Role people, Matt Colville. He actually just released his own TTRPG recently, Draw Steel, which is really cool. You know, it's another, there you go, there's a whole other system that's out there, and you know, it runs totally different, serves its own purposes too. But he made a video a long time ago on West Marches that blew my mind and made me really wish that I could be a part of something like that. And this is how he kind of pitched it, because he's very much used to like being an old school gamer and doing like a lot of like dungeon crawling type D&D stuff that, you know, isn't really as commonly done anymore. And when he talked about West Marches, he basically was like, a West Marches campaign is the idea where the players are in charge of coming up with, you know, what they want to do for the adventure and when they want to do it and putting everything together. And it mixes it up instead of just having, you know, it's game night, everybody's coming over, we're running my campaign in D&D, and that's just what it is. But it's also something can serve a larger community and get different people to play with. And it was so interesting the way that he described, like, you could have like there's a tavern and this is the town, and on the wall of the tavern is a map, and everybody who comes in as an adventurer, like, they can go where they want to go on the map and expand the edges of the map and, you know, do exploring and everything. So it's like, all right, the three of you come in, you're like, all right, we want to go to this dungeon and do this thing. You guys all come, one of you dies, two of you make it out and go back, and you know that there's another group that I've been playing with, and they've got like a level 6 wizard, and you're like, dude, if we had that level 6 wizard with us, we totally would have gotten the treasure at the bottom of that dungeon. Let's call them up and see when we can get them to help us go down into that dungeon. And you basically like, it would be like playing in college where you've got like a floor of people that are all into D&D, and like Tuesday night we're running the goblin raid, and then Saturday night, 5 of the homies are coming over and we're going to go, all the way to the Elven Kingdom in the north and see what's going on with their war out there. And it's just like a whole different vibe of this kind of living world and all these different players and all these different like interactions. It sounds super fascinating. It's kind of something like I had machinations when I was playing with you all and my other group, and I had 2 groups, and I imagine like a situation where I could cross the groups together for like some mega event.
That'd be pretty cool to do that. I would like to do that at some point too. And I've kind of, in a sense, I haven't done that approach, but what I will say is there were instances when I ran my Avernus campaign, because it was in the same setting, like the same world as what Joel was running for the homebrew, that I was able to get like some cross pieces in there, right? Like, the sister of the innkeeper or whatever at whatever city happened to also live at this city, right? Or it was a different time period. So it was like, I think it was like a gnome or something, and however long their lifespan is, I was able to say like, oh yeah, like this took place, 70 years ago, and this is a younger sister of that particular gnome who lived in Neverwinter, but I live in Baldur's Gate. There's also instances of stories, right? So, oh yeah, like these adventurers years ago slayed whatever dragon at this location. Like I was able to integrate some of those parts of Joel's homebrew into my world, because it was that kind of same area. And since I had players that were actively in that campaign and then some that were not, it was like this nice fun like intersection of content. So I can definitely see like where if you were to take that on a broader scale and say like 3 different groups of 4 people in each group, where that would be pretty cool, right? And being able to call upon one another to support, I think that's badass. I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and it's just one of those things where there's like, it's like magic, there's more than just standard. Commander's its own thing, and then outside of that there's Pauper and Modern and Legacy. Like there's so many different formats. Like D&D is just a game, and you can play that game with however many changes to the rules you want and adapt it and mold it to be however you want. And if it's not the way you want, you can always pick another game that is more in line with what you want. Like I'm actually really excited. At some point I would like to be able to play Draw Steel. I think I sent you and Joel a video about it like a week ago. But like some of the things in that game are really cool. Like there's no missing.
Yeah.
There's no just like having a turn where you didn't do anything. Like that's the worst part of D&D is like, I missed again. I missed a 3rd time. Like it's not my fault that I can't roll higher than a 6 tonight, and I just am not allowed to participate in the game because of it. So yeah, I don't know. We don't have to keep on harping about like other systems, but it is a cool decision. And actually I am very excited. I'm going to check out this season. I watched like all of season 1 of Critical Role.
Yeah.
I think I told Angela about it, got her into it maybe too. But like it was super fun. I watched a bunch of season 2 and then kind of just got away from it. And I never watched any of season 3. So I really like Brendan Lee Mulligan. I've watched him a bunch on Dropouts content. So I'm excited to see that. And I'm excited to see Matt as a player too. That's always fun.
That should be fun. Nice. All right, well, let's get into our inflation deflation. So Twisted Metal, as I drop these notes down here. So developed by Sony Interactive Studios America and Single Track, it was published by Sony Computer Entertainment, directed by Michael D. Jackson. So little One Piece reference there. Well, I was thinking One Piece, but yeah, that too. It was released in November of 1995. It is a vehicular combat game with reception of 8 to 9 out of 10. And then Ryan, please let us know what Twisted Metal is all about.
Set in a dystopian Los Angeles on Christmas Eve 2005, Twisted Metal throws players into a brutal vehicular combat tournament hosted by the enigmatic Calypso. Drivers pilot weaponized vehicles through chaotic arenas, battling to be the last one standing. The prize? A single wish granted by Calypso. No limits, no rules, not even reality. But in this twisted contest, victory often comes at a steep and ironic cost. Twisted Metal, I watched a retrospective on it like a couple of years ago. The story of Twisted Metal, like if you like go through like all of them, it's just like he just keeps having these tournaments, and it's just like the very weird story, like very much kind of just like a 90s, like you could see the people that were like, what if we put like guns on the Hot Wheels and then rammed them together and made it a game? And it's just like, yes, but what's the story? And they're like, I don't know, the winner gets a wish or something. Like, let's just make them crazy. It doesn't matter. And like, you could totally get that like wild vibe that like nobody really had like a grandmaster plan for this, and nobody probably ever thought that there would be like 8 of these games that they would be, you know, making this whole universe around. And now there's like a TV show that I think is getting a season 2 that's going to have Axel.
I think it's in season 2.
Oh, dude, I haven't seen any clips yet, but I got to see Axel, you know, the guy with his arms just in the giant tires and he's just standing in the middle of it. Like, that is Twisted Metal.
Yeah. No,
I'm surprised he wasn't in the first one, actually.
I wonder if he's not in the first game. I don't remember. I don't think he's in the first game.
He wasn't on the selection screen for the characters.
Yeah, I think he's, I don't know, unless you unlock him, but I think he's in the second game for sure. But yeah, so I'll be upfront, man. I had an okay time with this game, but it has not aged well in the slightest. It is, in my opinion, very pixelated. The movement of vehicles is okay, a little harder to control. And it just didn't feel as like worthwhile compared to, I think we played Twisted Metal 3 a long time ago, or Twisted Metal Black, I don't remember, but
we played 3. 3 was the one that like I remembered playing the most.
Yeah.
As a kid. But it is interesting to note that Twisted Metal 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all original PlayStation games.
Yep, Twisted Metal Black was
all 4 of them came out in 4 years' time on the same console.
Well, and you had, I think it was Twisted Metal Small Brawl as well, and that was also on the PS1. So that's 5 games right there. But then you had Twisted Metal Black on the PS2, and then Twisted Metal was on the PS3. So yeah, I mean, look, Twisted Metal 1, very early release in the PlayStation's life cycle. Not that early, but you know, earlier. And
95.
Yeah, and it just doesn't hold up, man. It's not as good as the other Twisted Metal games. There's a lot of nostalgia for people in this game, but overall, yeah, I mean, controls are wonky. The weapons, it's kind of difficult to see like what weapon you have when you're playing. It does have a 1 and 2 player mode in there, but I don't know, man. I spent some time on it, and it's not as good as the other Twisted Metal games. Like it's definitely showing its age nowadays.
Yeah, it's not the best. I mean, with there being so much choice, even on the same console, like there's really no reason to go back to the first one to actually play a Twisted Metal game. You're going to get a much better experience playing any of the other ones.
Well, and even like a story perspective. I mean, I would think that...
I mean, they're all going to be real light on story.
They are, but like Twisted Metal Black, I recall that one pretty vividly of Calypso walking into the prisons that the characters were at and having like conversations with them on like pulling them out for the tournament and getting some background on like why they were in jail and what was happening and what Calypso could do for them. You know, that, or I don't think they were all in jail, but I know like, I think Sweet Tooth, I want to say, was in jail. And the idea was like, hey, I'm back in this tournament because Calypso had this offer for me, and here's what's happening. And I'm saying Calypso, I'm pretty sure it is him in that game. But
yeah,
you know, all of that said, like there's at least some sort of like story that's tied to it. Whereas this was just single player, jump in, pick your character.
I mean, the characters have like a little bit of a, I mean, but that was typical of the time.
It was
typical of the time. You would get most of your story out of the manual.
Yeah. So for me, after playing it, I was like, how did this get a sequel? Like after I finished playing, I was like, how did this get a sequel?
I think just because it was like so cool at the time.
But you had Vigilante.
Like, people
when did Vigilante 8 come out?
I don't even know what that is.
A much better game. Vigilante 8, Vigilante 8 came out in 1998. So obviously 3 years after the fact. Later. Yeah, but in my opinion, Vigilante 8 was a much better game. I always enjoyed that a lot more. And let's see what the reviews are. They'll probably say otherwise. Yeah, reviews are like a 6 to 7 out of 10 for that one. Actually, no.
Man, there's a lot more just like people.
What? In Vigilante
like
8?
In the game. No, like in this game, there's like refs and pedestrians. Like I saw people standing around, but like I'm looking through the manual and there's like 7 or 8 different kinds of people that could be. There's ice skaters and guys sitting in lawn chairs and dogs.
Well, yeah, because I mean, like you have different levels, and each of those different levels is going to have different types of pedestrians and vehicles in it. It's like it makes sense that you've got that. But yeah, so looking at overall brass tacks here for this game, complete in box copy for the Black Label will run you $137.51, which I think is absolutely insane. Greatest hits copy will run, and that's, I looked up on eBay to see if this was like a mistake. No, there's like active listings that are complete in box only for like $185 right now for the Black Label. And
there's a better option though,
and that's not the long box. But yes, there is a better option.
The long box.
The long box is probably more expensive.
No, the long box is $90.
You know, it's a better option. The 2777 greatest hits copy. It's complete in box. So the peak for this was $150 in June of 2025 and $49.99 for that greatest hits in September 2023. They're both steady at this point. A loose copy of the Black Label. This is where it was like absolutely insane. A loose copy to Black Label will run you $20.99 and a greatest hits will run you $16.60. Like that's how much people are paying for the artwork and manual. At that point, just get a reproduction. Peaked at $22.53 for that loose copy in August, and then $37.99 for the greatest hits loose copy in September of 2023. So that's a very interesting difference there in terms of price. And then digitally, you can enter study on both of those, and then digitally you can get it for $9.99 on the PlayStation Store. I didn't check, but pretty sure you could probably get it with like the PlayStation Plus subscription.
Like PlayStation.
Yeah, I'm sure it's on there as well.
Or I guess it's all PS Plus now, isn't it?
So rating wise for me, if I was rating it back then, I'd probably be at an 8 to 9 out of 10.
Yes.
Rating it today, I'm at like a 5 or 6 out of 10 for this game. It's definitely not as enjoyable as it once was, in my view. As far as the overall inflated or deflated, I would say in both instances, greatest hits or Black Label, it is inflated for this title.
Yeah, I mean, there's better Twisted Metals out there to play. Like we said, there's not really any reason to really go back to this one unless you're collecting. And I mean, God help you if you're trying to do a Black Label collection.
Yep, definitely.
Or Calypso help you.
Maybe jump in the Twisted Metal tournament and that's your wish to get a Black Label copy. That'd be a pretty pathetic wish, now that I think about it.
You know, I bet if you went to Calypso and you won that tournament, you asked for all Black Label, like a complete PlayStation Black Label collection, he would give it to you, but he would give it to you in like all the different languages. Like it would be like every third game would be Spanish or French.
Everything Japanese, but you only have a PlayStation 1 that's a North American PlayStation 1.
They're all English boxes with Spanish manuals and German discs.
Yeah, that'd be pretty rough. That's rough, man. All right, well, I don't know what we're playing next week, but it's still hot in Arizona, so I guess it's still summertime over here. So we don't know.
No, it's fall now. I've decided.
It's fall now? Well, you know what? Pumpkin spice is out in stores now, so we could probably move into fall. Yep, I knew it.
Pumpkin.
I knew it. All right, well, when pumpkin spice things start coming out, it is fall time. So I guess we're going to jump into some fall video games now.
Pumpkin Candle.
You know what we haven't played yet? We have not played the Nightmare Before Christmas game.
We did.
On the PS2?
Oh, I'm pretty sure we did.
We did. Yeah, you're right. Damn. Well, there goes my fall game. Is there a Thanksgiving game?
There's got to be some kind of like shoot the turkey on Wii or something.
There's a chicken shot, but I don't have that.
Yeah.
We'll find something.
We'll figure out. We'll fall into something.
We'll fall. Yeah. Fallout. There you go. Fallout.
Oh, Fallout Fall.
Yeah. What about Fallout on the PS2, like the Brotherhood of Steel game? That'd be a cool one. We haven't done that.
We could try.
All right. We'll look around. We'll see what we can do here. I know I got that on my shelf. So
we'll let you know what we get into next week.
Yeah. But until then, this has been episode 356 of the Game Deflators Podcast. My name is John.
I'm Ryan.
And thanks for listening and watching.